Hello everyone and welcome to another episode on my channel. If you are new here, I am Storm, and in today's episode I am going to be showing you how to make dairy-free ice cream. So it is winter, it is like smack bang in the middle of winter in Johannesburg, South Africa, which is where I live, out on the farm with my blended family. And it's freezing. Well, it's freezing for us. I know that there are parts of the world that get snow. We don't really get snow, but the weather is still pretty chilly. Like we reach those very, very low digits, and overnight we do dip under the 0 mark, which is where we kind of are at the moment. So it's cold for us. And for some other reason, my toddler keeps asking me for ice cream. Like, I don't get it. All I want is like hot food and stews and coffee and like warm stuff. And I know he doesn't drink coffee, but he does drink tea and all of that. And he's not interested in that at all. He wants ice cream. So I want to give him some ice cream. But the thing is that it's not so easy for us to just give him ice cream because, for one, he is allergic to dairy. So there are vegan options. There's like the sorbet ice creams and stuff like that, which, you know, is something that we can and do give him. But reason number two, we live about 30 minutes from the shops that sell those things. So it's not so easy for us to just like hop in the car and go through and get it, especially if I'm not really going into town for anything else, because then that's just a complete waste of petrol. So I have learned how to make this ice cream. It's considered nice cream. I don't really know why it's called that, but that's what it's called on the internet. And it's basically ice cream that's made with frozen bananas. And the first time I read the recipe, I was like, I'm not sure. But when I actually tried it out, the consistency of the bananas when they are blended is exactly the same as like dairy ice cream. It's fantastic. And I tried it out with him. He absolutely loves it. And so that's now something that we make. I didn't really be expecting to make it now, but you know, that is what it is. So I am going to show in this episode how I make the ice cream. And then I make two different flavors. The one is like a banana vanilla. So all I really add to the banana mixture is some vanilla essence. But then I also have some raw cacao, which I then add to another mixture with a little bit of honey. And then he's got like a chocolate variation of the ice cream, which he can choose from depending on how he feels. And he really enjoys both. And he is a bit of a fussy eater. So the fact that he does eat both of these for me is a win. And that's why I am happy to make it for him. So all you need for this is some frozen bananas. I put a couple of bananas in my freezer this morning, and they've been in the freezer for about 2 hours. So they are frozen and ready to be blended. They just blend a lot easier. They don't go mushy. They keep that like ice cream consistency. I obviously need a food processor, which I'm going to be using, and then the ingredients are the bananas, some almond milk, just so that it can help get that nice smooth consistency, because when the bananas are frozen they sometimes tend to be like really hard and rigid, but that's the little bit of fluid that we add just helps make the ice cream a lot smoother. And then it's vanilla essence, honey, and the cacao, and that's pretty much it. This whole thing takes about 5 minutes. I'm going to flip my camera around so that you can see my kitchen, and then I'll go through how I quickly make it for him. So here I have all of my ingredients. I've got my frozen bananas in a closed container. If they're not sealed, then they sometimes tend to get a bit freezer burnt. So there they are. Here is my honey, my vanilla essence, my raw cacao, and my almond milk. The last thing we need is a food processor, and then we can start. I start off by cutting my bananas into smaller pieces. If they're too hard to cut, you can give them a few minutes to thaw out, and then that should make it a little bit easier. I then go ahead and pop my chopped banana pieces into the blender. And add a little bit of almond milk just to make the blending process a little bit smoother. I pop the lid on and then I start blending. And I don't really have a preference between continuous or the pulse blending. It just depends on how well everything is going. My bananas were not blending smoothly, probably because I added too many to the blender. So I just scoop a few out to make some space and then I continue with the blending process. Once all the pieces are starting to blend smoothly, then I add some of the chunks that I took out a little bit at a time and carry on with the blending process just to get those blended as well. Once the bananas reach that like smooth ice cream consistency, then I stop blending altogether. I add a few drops of vanilla essence and about 1/4 tablespoon of honey just to give it that sweetness. And then I blend it for a few more seconds just to make sure that everything is well mixed. Once that's all done, I spoon out half of the ice cream that I've made, and this makes the banana vanilla flavored batch, which I'll then put in a container and put aside. In the remaining batch, I go and add a tablespoonful of the raw cacao, give that a spin as well to make sure that it's all well mixed. And then this becomes my chocolate flavored batch. I then scoop this batch out as well into its own separate container, and then my 2 flavors and batches are ready to be sealed. Okay, so that part's done. That's the main part really. But then what I do to just like get it back to that nice ice cream phase, because sometimes it gets a little bit like runny, blending it and working with it, sometimes it can obviously like defrost a little bit and then it loses that ice creamy texture. So then what I do is I just pop it back in the freezer and it will be ready to eat in a few minutes, probably about 30 minutes or so, when it's just had a chance to cool itself down again and like regain that frozen texture. But really simple recipe, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we take it out the freezer when my son has a little bowl a little later. But I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoy seeing food made from scratch, mom life, toddler life, life on a farm, in a homestead, homemaking and all that kind of stuff, then please hit the like and subscribe button, because that is the type of content that you see on this channel. So that way you won't miss an episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye. How does it taste?
It tastes good.
It tastes good?
Yes, it tastes good.
Okay.
It's freezing cold.
Is it freezing cold?
Yes.